Short. It's good, though. It's good when the players are back, though. But it flies, I think, every year. It's like being a player. It just flies by, But each year it seems like it gets quicker and quicker. But it's been good.
Is it reinvigorating when the front office invests in your position group and gives you some new toys, I guess, so to speak, with?
I'm trying to be selfish every year, and I always beg for guys. I know Brad and Coach Campbell and always have a plan and the big picture for the team. So, I'll be totally honest. Sometimes on draft day, you're not totally sure either. I'm sitting with my feet up and, all right, what are we going to do? We make our little assessments as coaches, and playing part of that puzzle. And, it's draft day is always I'm like you guys. Even tell my kids, they always ask, my boys, who are we getting? Probably more my wife. I'm like, more about the team than I do, I think, sometimes. But it is nice always to get some fresh new faces every year. We do get them in there. And this year we happen to draft two young men that had really good college careers, and hopefully they can come in here and help us.
How do you allocate the snaps on the interior line? You got a couple vets who probably don't need a lot of work this time of year, and then obviously the young guys who maybe do that you're trying to catch up.
Yeah, I would say this: we all need work. It doesn't matter how long you play. You're always trying to refine yourself and sharpen your tools. Your strengths, your weaknesses. How do you keep getting better? Because every year you're writing a new chapter in your book and you're putting it out there. So even guys along like the Ragnows of the world or the Glasgows of the world, they're trying to get better. The thing with the new guys is you're trying to break habits they've been taught for 4 or 5 years and teach them the habits you want them to create. So first we got to create those habits and break some of the old habits, and that's repetition. And I'm a big firm believer in guys cross-train a lot of different positions too. That's the one thing I better watch what I say out there. But people don't always cross-train their guys, when they get them. And I think, unless you're the absolute starter day one or somewhere, I always feel like you need to be able to do both ways, and, it's the same way when Panay came in here. I believe it's now been 5 years ago, it's like he was a left tackle, and he was like, Coach, I only know left tackle. I go, you played like a year and a half, maybe, if I can recall, in college, and I watched you play right tackle in high school, and then they moved you around tight end, so don't give me that, but just teaching it, it's more the balance in the mind. It's like a mind trick anyway, honestly, on some of that stuff. I can't sit up here and say I can write with a left hand or anything like that, but I think if I trained myself, I would be able to do it. So it's about just training it and tricking the mind sometimes, stuff like that. So cross-training is a big thing for us because if you're not one of the 5 starters, we only dress 8 on game day. So that leaves 2 other positions open. So some guys have to play multiple positions or be ready to. And so it's getting those young guys caught up to speed and getting our vets sharpening their tools and still being able to, hey, Colby, go play right tackle. Hey, Colby, go play right guard, left guard, Yodi. These guys, and that, Panay probably gets the majority of all his at right tackle, all his reps. But again, hey, can you go over and play left real quick for me? Just if there ever needed to be that time. So it's getting everybody caught up to speed and going there.
Katie played obviously some center when we saw him. Now that the vets are here, where do you have him playing today?
Wherever I tell him, no. He's going to be, he's an interior player. That's where I would vision him playing, more interior. Definitely center's not as natural for him just yet, so you definitely are going to tend to probably give him more reps at that, snapping the ball to make it more comfortable. But see him helping us definitely interior. I know the young man getting to know him now more after rookie minicamp, and prior to that, he's going to do whatever I ask. I joke with him, hey, you're going to play tackle for us, stuff like that. But he definitely needs some time on there to training. It's going to become natural for him. I thought what he did in rookie minicamp was pretty good for handling that. Our centers, like across the whole league, they do a lot. They have a lot on their plates. They're like quarterbacks on that O-line. They set a lot of the protections, a lot of the calls, and they work one-on-one with the QB. So in time, he's going to get it down and become a pretty good center here, and I know he can flex out the guard. That's where all his tape is in college. So he definitely got majority of them at center, but he also, same way, a rookie, as you guys weren't probably around, you're flexing them. All right, get back to guard this side. So it was good, though, what he showed.
A couple of years, it feels like this time of year maybe your starting lineup has been a little more concrete than this year. How much does like a truly open competition for some spots in your line excite you?
I know this, and I think I've always learned it from growing, probably from my father, coaching me in little leagues, all the way up through, going to high school to college, and then having an opportunity to play at this level. Competition brings out the best of you, the best of the unit. It will weed out the weak too. So the guys that just can't keep up. And talking with all our guys this year, there's a lot of opportunity for everybody. And I think every year presents its own new issues or opportunities, you really should say. And every year is a different year. So I'm always on the mindset, and I believe with Coach Campbell, I line with him, is like we're trying to play our best five, and how does those chips fall? And so I think our guys, even the veterans, I've been in their same shoes when you draft somebody first round, second round, I've been that guy, and it just, okay, I'm coming in, I'm going to work hard, do what I can do, take care of what I can take care of, but it's only going to make you normally a better player, and it's going to make those other guys around you better. And so I think we just elevated our level of play probably this year. Now we got to go out and do it and do that, but the work ethic and the grind you're going to have and the all in, all together, you're going to see that this year because everyone wants to be in this room. And unfortunately, we can't keep everybody. We can't keep, if, like I said, I'm greedy. If they want to give me everybody and keep them on practice squad in there, I'd love to have them. But we're going to breed competition, and I think you're going to see the best from all these young men going forward. And we got, a few months here before the pads really come on. Right now, I would say we're in underwear. So when those pads come on, they're really going to separate things. And at the end of the day, I talk to every one of our guys in that old line room. That's kind of what I can control. Is my goal for them is to have a job here first. But if it's not here, what other 31 other teams are they going to be playing for? Because I always do believe we have a special unit here and special guys here. And so if it's not going to be with the Detroit Lions, what other 31 teams are you going to be on?
He was a developmental year with Gio last year. He spent the offseason doing some work with LaCharles, and we've seen the fruits of that labor with Taylor over all these years. I don't know how much you can assess the growth this early, but maybe even through last year, how do you feel about where Gio's at?
I liked where he ended last year, where he was with his play, where his demeanor was, where he really was assignment-wise. He really did a good job, and he grew every day. Coming back this year, I know he went out to see LaCharles, which LaCharles, I think there's a lot of guys out there that do a really good job with these guys, and I know what kind of shape Decker's in. We have a bunch of guys that go to LaCharles that's on our roster here, but I know this, like Deck always comes in ready to play, in shape and ready to go. And I know LaCharles a little bit. We played in the same era a little bit there. So I like what LaCharles is about and how he gets the guys ready to play. When it pertains to Gio, we'll see when these, the one thing, he does have a physical presence about him, and he can exert his physicality on the field, which is great. And that's what I think you got to see later in the year. Now it's, can he take that next step? It's a huge step. It's no longer, hey, we're trying to get all your base and balance right. There was a lot we changed with him, and I told him when we drafted him there was going to be a lot I was going to change how he did things, but it's the same way every year. You're coached for 4 or 5 years one way. You're coming to a new coach. Hey, I might want you to do this, tweak that foot there, turn your toe out, hey, place your hands here, all that. So all these little things, he's heard a whole year of me say it, and it's now, okay, can I take this, and now without thinking about all these little things that come into play, can I keep playing fast? And that's what we're going to see. And I think the biggest thing for O-line, you don't have to be the most talented, you don't have to be the strongest, you don't have to be the fastest, you got to be the most consistent. And if you're consistent, you'll play.
Is he a tackle for you, or is he?
He's a football player.
Opportunity to interview with other teams for an OC position. Just wondering what you learned from that process about yourself and what other teams are viewing about you.
It was a good experience. I'll take it. I went out there. It was a long flight, but it was very good. I think everything you do in life, you're always learning from something and trying to get better at it. And it was a great opportunity to at least just look at and learn from. Take everything. You never want to take things for granted. It was, I just want to be the best O-line coach I can be, to be honest, the best coach. It's like being the best dad, the best husband. And it was a good honor for somebody to call and reach out. And it was a great experience. I thought it was a great experience. We had a great meeting, and I'm very glad, though, I'm back here because this is where I wanted to be with my family. And we got stuff special here. I got a special room, but definitely Mike was great out there, and it was a great little learning experience. And if it ever arose or came about again, it'd be another way to. I've already taken that step. What can I do better? What can I not do better? But it is definitely where I wanted to be anyway here right now.
Was it hard to say no to other opportunities elsewhere? And I guess besides what you just mentioned, what else went into your decision to stay here? I guess what lured you back to Detroit?
Well, you guys get to walk in this building almost every day, and I do. And there's a lot of things. There's a lot outside football too. Everybody knows I got four kids, about a third one about to go to college this year, so that's 3 college bills. And then we still have 2 younger ones and kids. So family's a big part of it, but really the room, Coach Campbell is a big part of it. Family, we've been here going on 8 years. So that's, for me personally, and letting you guys probably know more than that, but my kids before here, the longest they've ever lived was 4 years. So Michigan, I would say, is home for them, even though they'll go anywhere. We lived all over the country, but home right now is for my wife and I here, Michigan.
Is there anything new with that run game coordinator title? Was that stuff you were doing unofficially, or?
I don't know about that, but there could be something new. But no, I mean, as a O-line coach, I always just say you're O-line coach. You're kind of in charge of a little bit of everything, and it looks good on paper.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'll just say a couple things briefly to begin. First of all, obviously excited about joining the Detroit Lions. Nostalgia for me. My dad coached with the team in the 80s. Different facility, those that have been in the old Silverdome. But just as a kid going to Oakland University, shagging balls and watching James Jones and following around Pete Manley and those guys, it was just such a great time for me just to be around the NFL. It was my dad's first NFL job. So to be there for training camp, to meet a lot of the players and be there for a Monday Night Football game against the 85 Bears, that was an exciting time for me. So nostalgia to be back in this area. I went to Rochester Adams High School, so did that a couple weekends ago, went back up to Rochester Hills and drove around a little bit. So it's been a lot of fun. On the professional side, I've always seen myself as an NFL coach, even though I've been in college for a long time. And the entire time I was at Stanford, every offseason, I studied NFL football. So obviously picking the top teams to look at, I've always watched this offense. Really studied it intently for the last 3 years, but I've always been one of the offenses I looked at. So just so fortunate to have this opportunity. Very grateful to the organization, Coach Campbell in particular, to be able to see that I could have something to add to what they've had going on here. What I was looking for, I always knew that I wanted to come back to the NFL at some point in time. And what I was looking for, I found last year in Denver. And it was a great opportunity to work in personnel, to look at the game from a different point of view, knowing that eventually I was probably going to come back to the coaching side. And I just thought about it towards the end of last year. What am I looking for? And number one, I was looking for alignment between ownership, management, coaching. Obviously, that's done here at the highest level. I was looking for an opportunity to come in and contribute, but also learn. A lot of things that I wanted to learn here from the staff that is here right now, but also want to be able to contribute. And I found that opportunity here as well. And, as like anything, I also want an opportunity to win. And the staff here, starting with Brad Holmes and his staff, have continually put together a competitive, aggressive, physical football team with a very similar mentality that I always coached with, which was to try to be the most prepared, most physical team every single game day I think they've done that here, which gives you a chance to win on top of being fast and explosive and all those things. So it seemed like a perfect situation to come into it. And you throw on top of it one of my best friends and John Morton taking over as the offensive coordinator, and our history together, starting at the Oakland Raiders in 1998 and learning John Gruden's version of Bill Walsh's West Coast offense. And over the years, he and I have kind of taken it in different directions, but have a lot of the same base. So it's been fun coming back with Johnny, seeing where we've been different, finding a lot of commonality, and really excited about the way he's directing this offense. And very fortunate to play a part. And it's like, I can't say this enough, being able to learn from Johnny, but also being able to learn from the coaches that are here, and the philosophy and what they've put in here. Johnny's been saying it, and I agree 100%. We're not here to disturb any of the positives that have been going on here, but we want to add to it. And one of those things I believe in, it was on our wall when I was back at Stanford, is every single day you're getting better, you're getting worse. You're never staying the same. So we're not resting on any laurels. We're trying to push the envelope. We're trying to grow. We're trying to push ourselves and push the players to be better. And that's the goal every year, is to be better, to go farther, and take our best shot at winning that trophy.
John kind of echoed those comments at the combine, David, just about not wanting to overhaul what's working. You're bucking kind of a unique situation where you're taking over top 5 scoring offense 3 years in a row, run game that's pretty solid, pass game's pretty solid. So what is the approach, I guess, with adding to or tinkering with something that's, you don't want to tear down or break apart?
Well, the mentality for me, there are a lot of different levels. Number one is self-scout. Who do we have? What do we do well? What do we need to work on? On top of that, who are we playing? What do they do well? How can we best attack them? And then going back to us again, okay, what have we done in the past that we can either get better at or keep doing, but then also what goes with that, right? The runs and the play action, make sure those things marry, and all the formations, and make sure that we're not saying, hey, we're going to come back and do a carbon copy of last year. And last year's dead. It's gone, right? It's in the history books, we got a chance to write another chapter. So we're not going to be ogling at what happened last year. We're also not going to be held to it either. Brand new year, different players, different coaches, different opponents. So it's really taking stock in who we have and what we have, and make sure that we get the most out of everybody in the building, coaches, players, everybody.
You mentioned wanting to come back to the NFL level. What is it about the pro game that's kind of drawn you here?
Here as in the NFL. The short story is when I joined Jim Harbaugh at the University of San Diego in 2006, I said, this is a 1-year deal. I'm coming here for a year and I'm going right back to the NFL. So towards the end of the season, we won a national championship. We played really well, broke a bunch of records, and I was on my way back. And Coach Harbaugh was up for a lot of different jobs from San Diego. And he kept saying, hey, I got the chance here, chance there. I said, Jim, I told you I'm going back to the NFL. Like, I'm done. I'm going back to the NFL. This was great, but I'm going back. And he said, I have a chance to interview at Stanford. I said, well, hold on a second. If you get that one, I'll go with you, but no other ones. He got that one. And I don't know, 16 years later, but so that short trip to college football ended up being a long time, but it was always in the back of my mind. I give a lot of that credit to John Gruden. He trained me, and he trained me as an NFL coach. So that was always my mentality. So if you ever watched us play, we look starkly different than most college offenses. They're fortunate enough to get Vic Fangio to come spend a year with us. So offensively and defensively, pretty much my entire time at Stanford, we were a West Coast-based NFL offense and a Vic Fangio-based NFL defense. So my off seasons, as I said, were, yes, it was also, that's what I plan on coming back to, but it was also who we were. So I didn't study a lot of college film in the off season. I studied a lot of NFL film, always knowing that I wanted to come back to the NFL. I just didn't know it was going to take so long.
What's your excitement level with this
What's your excitement level? Just, I know last year's dead, but 62 passes of 20-plus yards last year. This was an explosive offense, and you've got a top 5 quarterback, a top 5 tight end, a top 5 receiver, one of the fastest guys in the league. Just the excitement level, and I know it's no pads right now and it's very early, but just the excitement level of the weapons that you have and what you might be able to do with them.
Well, I mean, that's the game, right? Take stock in who we have and go attack the other team. So that's the mentality right now is, and once again, I love everything that you said. I never base it on stats, right? Stats are for you guys and everybody else. I never base it on stats. I base it on film. What do our guys do well, and what can they work on? And everybody that you just mentioned is awesome. And thus far, they all know they have things to work on. None of those guys have come back and said, hey, look what I did last year. Like, no. They all want to get better. We all want to push the envelope. So that's where my excitement is the mentality that Coach Campbell has instilled here, which is we are always in attack mode. We are never in, hey, look what we did mode. So Coach Campbell's done an outstanding job with all of us about making sure that we killed last year dead. No pats on the back, hey, look, none of that stuff matters, right? We are starting from ground zero. We're starting the season 0-0. You don't get credit for last year. All you get is no more opportunity. And that's where we're about our opportunities. And we have a lot of assets, which is great. And it's our job to get the most out of those assets.
Two follow-ups on what Nolan and Justin asked. When your name always seemed to come up for NFL jobs when you were head coach at Stanford. Maybe you could just clarify why you stayed at Stanford then instead of going to the NFL. And then second, can you just explain a little bit more about the relationship you have with John? Because obviously you're out the last couple of years, and we all know you guys go back a long way. That how meaningful it is to be paired up with him here.
Yeah. So without getting into detail, I was a head coach at Stanford for 12 years. Never took an NFL interview. I would say on average probably turned down 3 a year over the first decade. Not going to be specific on any of those. So as you all know, I'm a coach's kid. And so growing up in this thing, I have a lot of little principles. 2 of them are, number one, when you have a job, get the most out of that job. I'm not peeking over the fence. A lot of great things out there, and that's great. I had a great job, and I wanted to get the most out of it. So that was the thing for me, was I always wanted to go back to the NFL, but so much of it is about timing. And I loved what I was doing. I loved where I was doing it. I loved who I was doing it with. And over a decade, we were a top 10 winning team, which not only Stanford, but no academically high-ranking team has ever had a run like that. And I wanted to finish that run, knowing that whatever next was going to be next. The other principle I have is not taking a job thinking about getting another job, right? So I don't think of this profession as stepping stones to other things. So when I was going to take a job, I'm taking that job. So I'm not taking this job to see if I can build enough equity to get a head coaching job. I took this job to take this job. I want to be here. I'm fired up to be here. I'm excited to be here. If something else comes out, that's great, but that's not why I took this job. I took this job because of who's here and what's been built here. Give a lot of credit to Sheila for her vision and putting the front office together and the coaching staff together and setting the foundation for where we are here. And that's what I wanted to be a part of. Now, as far as going back to Johnny Morton, and the more that you all see him and hopefully the few opportunities you have to talk to me, which I don't want there to be a lot. Once again, it's not why I came here. You'll get we present very, very differently. We are flip sides of the same coin. Super competitive, Gruden trained, geared at truly how can we dissect this defense and use our assets to do that. So we have a very, very similar mind in attacking defenses and the way we see the game. And although we present very differently, since the first day we met, our personalities have meshed. That we just mesh. And it's, once again, I don't know however many years it's been since 1998. We've always been close, and we've always pushed each other too. It's not one of those relationships like, we'll just kind of say hi every once in a while. It's like, hey, you looking at this? Hey, what'd you see there? Hey, why'd you guys do that? So we've always had the personal side and the professional part of the relationship that is always meshed.
You said last year is dead. Does that help that there's 9 new assistant coaches? Does that make it easier for you and the team to accept that? Because there is going to be obviously some different voices and some changes.
I don't know if it's better or worse, or it just is. Just embracing who's in the building, and making sure that everybody's got a chance to contribute. And Johnny's going to make the calls and make the decisions. But there's a lot of really good, strong voices in that room, including Coach Campbell, who's got a great eye for the game and for techniques and for scheme. I think he's just got the mentality of like, we just can't, whether last year was good or bad, it doesn't matter. It's over. What we have right now is an opportunity to get the most out of the guys in the building.
But from what you've seen, heard, watched on film, Lions have a quarterback in his prime. What's your assessment of Jared Goff?
Similar to what I said about the players, there's a hunger in Jared that I think is great because you feel it. You feel it in the meeting room. You feel it when he's out there on the field with the guys. He's playing up. He's trying to play up to a standard and bring everybody up along with him. I've known Jared and known of Jared for a long time, since probably his junior year of high school. I've got no complaints. I'm just extremely excited. I have one complaint, just he went to Cal, but that's a whole nother deal. But as far as him being in the upper echelon of this league, he absolutely is. And I'm really excited to be on the same side with him.
Been around so many quarterback rooms in your life. Just when you bring in another veteran that's seen a few different places, a few different things, what does Kyle Allen add to a room?
Well, I'll tell you what, before that, what we saw in Kyle was a quarterback, to your point, who has experience. He has played. He's been on multiple teams, different systems. He's very smart. What I loved about the tape that we saw, he made good decisions with the ball. He managed very well. You can tell he was operating within whatever offense that he was in, and just has a good grasp on how to play at this level and has for a while. In our room, again, I think we've talked about it before, being a resource for Jared. Always being ready. That's at the top of the list if necessary. But being a good resource for Jared, another set of eyes. Once again, year 5, we have another good room where we've got obviously we have Jared, we've got Hendon, and we've got Kyle, and they all work very well together. We're finding that out this off season, and there's a good synergy in that room. And even today we're watching tape, and Kyle was kind of coaching Hendon a little bit and talking a little bit. So I'm really pleased with what I see with Kyle. He's going to be a huge asset for us, and we're glad to have him.
How important is that competition for Hendon? I mean, any young
player. Oh no, it's great. Competition's great all around, and that 2 spot is open, so it's good. Nothing is given to you in this league. You've got to earn it, and once again, Hendon finds himself in a position where he's going to have to earn that 2nd spot, and it starts now. And it's obviously it's preseason, but it's our OTAs. It's any time we're on the field. It's all of that, and he's off to a very good start, which is good. He's getting better.
What do you want out of the 2 spot? What do you need? How does it differentiate from the 3 spot? So what are you looking for, I guess, in that?
Well, it's obviously having a grasp of our offense, being able to manage that, getting in and out of the huddle. We do have some new concepts in the passing game, some things we're doing a little different. Understanding, the intent of every passing play, and understanding our protections really well. And then when we get to the OTAs, we're on the field, we're competing against our defense, just being able to execute, making good decisions with the ball, taking care of the ball, no turnovers. But also specifically, and really what I look forward is just being really good with your fundamentals. And then preseason, obviously, once we get out in the games, and then maybe we have an opportunity to compete against other teams, in practice, moving the ball, moving your team, executing, playing at a high level. So all of those things, I think you guys all know, which you guys see it, and that's going to be critical for all the guys. And no different for Jared. And obviously, whatever his plan is for preseason is probably very similar to what we've had in previous years. When you're out in the field, we expect you to move the ball, and at the top of the list, make good decisions with that ball, being on time, being accurate, getting us in and out of the right play, getting out of the huddle, understanding what we're trying to accomplish, and that's going to be important for all the guys.
You said some new passing concepts. Do you think any changes would be mostly subtle as opposed to dramatic?
I don't think you'll notice them.
Okay.
Yes, I mean we know what we do well. We know what our quarterback is comfortable with, what he likes. We know what our players are comfortable with, what they like. We had a pretty good offense last year, and so while we might tweak a few things, add a few things, take away a few things, it's going to look the same, in my opinion. But we're just trying to give our playmakers the opportunity to play at a very high level, and with our quarterback, we're able to do that. He has some weapons, and so utilizing those weapons and putting them in a position to succeed, creating some matchups where they can just play. It really just do what they have been doing. We want to continue to do that, but it takes a lot of work, of course.
A lot of turnover with the coaching staff. Obviously, OC was the big one, but you also brought in, Bruce, Marcus, David. What do you like about the composition of the coaching staff?
We got 50 quarterbacks on the coaching staff now, which is great, which I love. All real good guys, and you guys have been around. You see that if there's one thing that pops is we've got some guys that have played the position. And for me as a player, going back decades ago, the guys that played, that I was able to be coached by, there was a connection there that meant a lot to me. I had some quarterback coaches that played for a long time: Bill Musgrave, Ken Anderson, Matt Cavanaugh, guys that were actually in the thick of it and had some success in this league. And so when they tell me this, I'm like, okay, well, he's done that before. He's been in, he knows what he's talking about. And so I think just not for the quarterback position, but for all the positions that I think that goes a long way. And I'm not saying that if you didn't play in the NFL that you can't be a very good coach. We added Tyler Roehl. The guy's unbelievable. I mean, you talk about details and passion and communication and being a good teacher, man. He just burst on the scene here, and he's been incredible for us. But I think we have a very good staff. The guys that we added, John Morton was here before, and we added Choice. He's incredible. You talk about energy, passion. I mean, you just give it a couple minutes, you're going to hear him yelling something, in the building, and he's going to be a really good coach for us. So we're thrilled. Dan did a very good job once again of bringing in guys that know what they're doing. Good teachers, good people, good communicators, and then a few guys got a little experience too.
Just to sort of back to Hendon, because obviously he didn't play a whole heck of a lot last year, but just kind of where is he at in his progression?
He's doing great. Yeah, it's a new opportunity for him, a new year, another year of growth. Remember, what is this, 3? He's a puppy. I mean, he's still young, and does he have a lot of growth? Yeah. There's some things that we got to work on, but what other, that's the same case for every other young guy that's going into his 3rd season. There's a lot of things to work on. Just being around Kyle as well, there's things that we got to work on with him. There's things that Jared needs to work on. So Hendon's no different than the other guys. There's areas that you have to focus on, and but he's doing an excellent job. And every year he is just going to get better. And we've already seen it just in the couple of weeks that we've been on the field. He's throwing the ball better. His footwork is better, and he understands our concepts. And so this has been really good for him. And as we go, the kid, because of his focus and his attitude and his work ethic, he's naturally just going to become a better quarterback. And when he gets out there in preseason, I imagine he's going to get a lot of reps. You'll see a better version of him than you did last year, and I'm excited about that. I'm really pleased with Hendon.
Mark, David Tashard spoke to Jared Goff's, noticing Jared Goff's hunger. Just wondering from your observations, what's been Jared's mindset this spring?
Yeah, there's very little left for Jared to accomplish, other than a Super Bowl championship. He's been in the Pro Bowl, and he's one of the best in the business right now. But he's in pursuit of winning a championship. That is what drives him, and he understands full well, which I love about him, that what you do in May has everything to do with what happens in February. And not just him, but being the leader of this team, and getting on the same page with the other guys that he's been with for a while. All the positions on the offense, and just being our leader, the franchise quarterback. He understands that you have a window, and however long this window is open, we don't know, but we know we have this year. And so he is very much in pursuit of us being the best team in the NFL.
You drew the Hall of Fame game this year. You drew the Hall of Fame game this year, and that has messed around with the offseason schedule a little bit, but a fourth preseason game, 2 sets of joint practices possibly coming up. Dan talked about those. Just how valuable is that going to be for your number 2 battle, just to see all of it?
Oh yeah, I don't know about practices and don't know anything about the schedule other than the game you mentioned. But a lot of the veterans, in extra preseason games, but for the quarterback position, I mean, I love it. I love it that Hendon and Kyle will be getting more reps, more game time, and so it allows you to evaluate more. It allows those guys to have more opportunities to move the team, and so I'm thrilled about that. That'll be really good for us. And then of course practicing against whoever we practice against, and those are valuable as well. And that's where Jared gets the bulk of his training camp work right there. That's really good. Not to mention just the practices. Coach Campbell will have some tough practices in there. And we'll grind those veterans, and which is really good for us. And I think it has everything to do with why we have been such a physical team, and why once the season starts, man, we're ready to go. Coach Campbell does a very good job of getting us ready for the season, and so that's always been really good for us, and I'm sure that will continue.
Good to see most of you guys again. I always like to say that kind of to start. It was good to see everybody, and also really, really excited. Transitioning this year to me from running back position to the receiver position, which is a lot of people don't know, I've probably spent more time coaching this position and the quarterback position than I had the running back position. So it's still a challenge. It's not like riding a bike, which is the reason why it's really good. I've had the chance to spend a lot of time with a lot of great coaches, but also be around great coaches and to continue to develop, because the game is continually moving. So this is a challenge for me, no doubt. But it is where I'm probably most at home at and feel most comfortable at. Just looking forward to being around our guys and just coaching them and trying to detail what we do even more than we've had in the past. So we'll continue to try to grow that. And then it also makes it pretty daggone sweet when you come into a room with a lot of good players. So happy about that. And then transitioning from the running back room, I know a lot of you guys probably know it's hard for me because of the relationship I've been able to build with both David, who is just one of the more impressive players and people that I've been around. Looking forward to see his growth. And then, Jameer and Craig, just talking about Jameer's development and what he's been able to grow to in such a short time in this league. And Craig and Vaki. So really, really going to miss those guys, but get a chance to see them every time. Just don't get the chance to be around them quite as much as I have in the past.
Scottie, just at rookie camp last week, it's short, really small window, shorts and helmets, but from Isaac, what did you see as far as what you liked on the field and even off the field, and maybe things that you'd like to see him improve on?
Number one thing was poise. We threw a lot at him mentally. I challenged him, put him at multiple positions to see if he could handle that. Brought him along as fast as we could. He didn't blink an eye. He's physically, when you see him out there with the guys, now he has to prove it and continue to make those jumps as the competition level rises. It's not going to be rookie minicamp forever. It's already transitioning on him. But what you saw is a guy that definitely belonged, and his physical talent and ability showed that not only did he belong, but he's exactly what we thought he was at this point in time. Just got to grow and develop as a player now, and the smaller details of what we do. But a great example, though, if you will, of a guy working his way into what he is, not just one of those guys that hits a height, weight, and speed, and everybody thinks that it's this thing. This is a guy that has worked to get to where he is. Really happy to have him where he is right now.
What can you take from your time coaching the running backs, going back to receiver? Like, how have you changed as a coach, I guess?
Yeah, I think it's a level of respect. Sometimes when you're out there on the island, you don't understand what goes on in the backfield and some of the dynamics, not only in protection, but the adjustments and protections is just give you a chance to get the ball out. And also the connection of not just getting the ball out, but the timing that is connected to thinking about if we get a 5 down front and Jameer is on a 255-pound backer, how you got to be detailed. And if we say 3-step, it's got to be 3-step game, 5-step game, 7-step game. So the connection to both of those, and then making them understand that the running backs are going to depend on them as much as anybody to hit the home run. When you saw Jameer and you saw David with those monster runs, if you also looked in the background, you saw J-Mo leading it, you saw Saint knocking somebody out, you saw something going on from those receiver positions. So the connection between those guys now, because I've been in both rooms, will even become even closer.
From early meetings, what can you share about what the Lions are getting in Tashard Choice?
Oh, man, I tell you what, you're getting an unbelievable ball coach, one that has a tremendous amount of knowledge, but is also very, very eager to learn, who connects with the players as well as anybody that I've seen. Great understanding of our scheme already. He did a good job before he came here. Of course, I knew him before. And had several conversations with him on football and just the recruiting process and the different people that he's had and been able to coach. So what they're getting is a guy that's very, very eager to make us a better program overall.
Was that your idea? Was that Dan's idea? I mean, obviously Antoine left. Can you just, how did that come about?
Yeah, so it was something that had been talked about between the two of us very quickly. It wasn't something that we had waited on. So we talked about it, kind of pondered it both for us. There's a lot of things kind of going on at the time. So there was an eagerness for me to get back to the passing game. But there was also this eagerness in me that I was fighting, that I wanted to be with Jai and David the rest of my time, the time that I was here. So it was just one of those situations. I thought that it was time. I thought that room was developed. That room had kind of grown, and there was opportunities for other people. And then, I also wanted to get back to honing the skills of the passing game and how that works. Even though I was already thrown into it, it's just a little bit different when you're in a wide out room, closer connection, whether it be quarterback, receiver. We're just in the passing game a lot more now.
Yeah. Question about Isaac, another
Yes.
one. Just when Brad says he was his favorite receiver in the draft,
Yeah.
and Ray says he seems like he was born to be a Lion. I'm not sure if they're already fitting him for a gold jacket, but how much pressure does that put on you to get the most out of him and make sure he succeeds?
I'm a football coach. Pressure is, we apply it. We don't feel it. All right. So one of the things about that is that every year, I was asked this question 2 years ago. You feel a tremendous amount of pressure about getting Jameer Gibbs, where you guys took Jameer, and I really don't. I just feel that every day I have to come in as detailed as I possibly can. And at the end of the day, if the product comes out the way that we know our total organization basically puts the product on the field, it's a tremendous amount of belief in myself, but also belief in the people that are in the building that's going to get this done. Yeah, so don't necessarily feel it.
What's the biggest difference between those two rooms? I know it's been pretty early having those guys in, but does anything jump out to you? Just maybe the mentality, just the humor in the room? Is there anything that stands out different about the two rooms?
Really not yet. Because I've spent so much time with both of them already, I kind of knew, you know the personalities, you know what's going on. I think that there is more of an adjustment because there's so many young guys when they come into the room. Now I think that adjustment is crazy. David goes at the young guys really, really quickly. Saint, he leads and he teaches, so that dynamic is a little bit different. But overall, I don't know if I found it out yet. And then ask me in 5 or 6 weeks, I might have a better answer there.
Scottie, with J-Mo, he was coming into last year, still kind of had to prove it at this level in 1,000-yard season. He did that. What's changes for him coming into a year where he might have that confidence and that production behind him?
It's already changed. He was here when I got back here. So that's a big deal to me, right? When I came off of the couple-week break we had, J-Mo was already here. Right. In the offseason, I didn't have to call him. Once I got the job, he knew exactly what it was. He just came up just to say hello to me because he knew, what we needed to get done. And then now, 2 days ago or yesterday, I can get my days confused, probably one of the better meetings I've ever seen him in the setting. It was a total offensive meeting where you talking about the communication level and the questions and the football IQ and the acumen that he was asking questions about is what you really wanted to see, and that's what we got to do. Or are we where we want to be? No, we're not. We're not there. And I'm not saying that he's showing us something that he's not there, but we're going to take baby steps. If he keeps developing the way he's doing right now, he's going to get to a location that he really, really likes. Really, really satisfied with where he is right now, but we got a long way to go.
We've asked a couple questions about Isaac, but how important was it to get Tim back in the fold and not needing to maybe push a rookie out there before he's fully baked?
Man, it's very, very important that you have someone to learn from, and you have to have someone that can teach, that's not coming from the voice of a coach, someone that's done it, somebody understands the movements, especially of a bigger-bodied receiver, the details that go into our route game that may differ from when you see J-Mo running it versus from Tim running it versus St. Brown running it. You got to have all that in. And then it takes a tremendous amount of stress off of us on game day. I mean, we can throw different people at you right now and feel pretty good about it. Tim has a great background with us. He has a background with Coach Morton, so there's a lot of familiarity there that's helping us. But like you said, Saint does a good job teaching and coaching. Tim does a wonderful job of doing the same, and he has a good understanding of what we want to do offensively. So really, really happy to have him back.
Looks like that location that will be really, really good. I mean, I had such a good year last year, and such a big play threat for you. What's sort of the next step like on the field for him? Where do you see him growing in that?
So we've seen his best, right? We've constantly seen him grow and seen his best, like games where he has been his best, and then we've seen, some situations to where it was good, but it wasn't his best, right? That's where we've grown to now. Now it's just the consistency of seeing his best. Is there a yardage connected to that? For me, no. Is there an attitude connected to that? For me, yes. And that's what we have to look forward to with him.
Scottie, the schedule comes out tomorrow. When it does come out, just curious, do you look at the bye week or Thanksgiving? What do you like to look at when the schedule comes out?
Wow. I don't think I've ever been asked that question, but I'll tell you, the first thing I always look at is the first opponent. I usually don't get past the first opponent. I'll turn my whole offseason into whoever that is. And then maybe there's somebody else on our staff or team that looks beyond that. But for me, I'll be singularly focused on whoever runs out first.
When you were doing your assisting in the scouting process ahead of the draft, what did you like about Dominic?
Oh, I like him a lot. I'll say that. Both of those guys were guys that we were very high on. You guys know, when it comes to me, one of the things that I love is short area quickness, especially with guys in the slot area that have the ability to play on the outside as well. I thought he was very fluent in his routes. His change of direction was really good. He can drop on a dime. His catch radius is much larger than he is, which he becomes quarterback friendly very easy. But the other thing connected to Dominic is that what I didn't know is that he does have the ability to do multiple things. He's not just a slot. He can play inside, he can play outside because of his ability to start and stop so abruptly. And he has a great route tree. So there's a lot that we like about him. There's a lot that we still got to figure out. Right now we're still in shorts and T-shirts. This game changes tremendously when the pads come on, the physicality happens, and I think he'll take the step when that happens as well.
With David and Jameer considered probably one of the best duos in the league, just the excitement level of jumping into a room with that good of talent and then trying to get something more out of guys like that.
First and foremost, just the fact that when you inherit a room that Scottie Montgomery has put together as far as the level of consistency. The guys in the room have a standard and the expectation to do really well. And so it's sort of easy to get around guys that want to be coached. And just to be here this short period of time that I've been here, to have a chance to do OTAs, get a chance to be in the meeting room with the guys. And, I'm familiar with Ja and having a chance to be around Demo to see him move, and also Vaki and also Craig Reynolds and Ty and Kai. It's been cool because the guys want to be coached. And for me, coming into a room that you inherit where the guys have held a standard and the expectation, where Scottie have done a hell of a job with them, you have to try to find every single avenue to coach them to get better, because that's the job that I have to do. It's just a point where the group is so solid, and every little detail, every little knick-knack, I'm picking at it. And for them to hear it and not get mad at me or hear it and not want to listen, but hear it and be coachable and actually try to do it and perform on the football field has been tremendous. So I hold a lot of respect, for Scottie, the players in that room, and then more importantly, man, you can see how cool they are in the meeting room. They care about each other. If somebody don't do something right, they tell each other. So I have a lot of coaches on the football field that know how to do things the right way. It's pretty cool.
You got eyes on Jameer, kind of early in his development. Talking to guys at Georgia Tech, they saw special even then. Is there anything about the levels he's already reached as a professional that has surprised you?
Yeah, he way better than I was. I can tell you that much. It's funny, man. I said I could sit here and, to be honest with you, I could sit here and tell you the truth. When I saw Ja first play in person, me and my friend go up to a game, and he ran the first run, and my friend just did me like this in the crowd, like, get out of here. And I kept looking at other running backs. He's like, nah, none of them better than him. And so having a chance to watch him from afar for these last 3 years, and every single week because of Shep and because of Ja, I kept wanting to watch the Lions games and to see him progress, to see how smart he is. I always, I tell him he's one of the smartest running backs I've ever coached. He's just a natural football player. You tell him something, he understands it, he gets it right now. You don't have to coach him over and over again on football stuff. It's easy to him. And so having an opportunity to get around him now, coaching, I'm going to be harder on him even more. The same way, like I tell him all day, like, zero, he can't do anything right on the field. But Jameer Gibbs, I love. Same thing with David Montgomery. Like, when they're on the football field, they're the player, not the person. I'm coaching them to get better. When they off the field, I try to get used to them as a person, to see what makes them go, what makes them tick. And a lot of them I understand, Ja, of course, I have a relationship with. But it's the same thing with Demos, the same thing with Craig and Baki, because they got to know that first I care about them more than the game. And if you get players to understand that, it's about your actions, not about what you say, it's about what you do. And so it's been pretty cool to be around him. But for him, the sky's the limit. I'm going to push him. I'm going to push him like no other, though. I have to.
What was it about him? Because I talked to his high school coach and then Brent Key at Georgia Tech, and they both said you were always the guy that was saying, this guy's a running back. Don't move him to DB. Don't do nothing like that. What was it about him?
It's one thing, I'm thankful that I had guys when I interned, when I coached, I got around dudes that was able to teach me characteristics, things to look for, movement, and when you see it. And it's like, when you see a running back and he's a dude, it don't take you long. It ain't like you got to watch a movie and it's the Titanic and you got to wait till the water come. This thing right off the top, when it's coming. So it's like, when I saw him, you knew it. The schools that wanted him as a DB, I was so happy I ain't have to go against them. I'm at Georgia Tech, I ain't have to recruit against them. But to understand, to see it, when guys move and you can just see how he worked. And the fact that he could play DB let you know his movement. We put him on punt team, he could be a gunner. I saw it at Georgia Tech. He was really, really good athlete, and he just loved football. But when you watched him, his ability to make people miss, to see the field, to make the second and third defender miss without even looking at him. Those are qualities I learned from people in organizations of, high-ranking people that recruit and draft guys. And I sat down when I was with the Cowboys. I had to sit down and learn how to look at each individual player and even my own self. Why wasn't I drafted as high? Why was this guy drafted? It makes you think more about yourself. And so learning to see what, the characteristics, it was easy for me with Ja.
How would you describe your relationship with Shep, and how far back does that go?
That's my dog. I call him Shep Dog, a.k.a. Bruce Leroy. That's my buddy. It's funny, man. I tell y'all this, man. Y'all don't understand how close we really are. And it's so cool because I talk to Shep every day, even when I was, at Texas or at Georgia Tech, I talk to Shep every single day. So to see his journey on the coaching, when he got into coaching, because he got into coaching after I did, and to see him and to have an opportunity to come up here, and Coach Campbell give him an opportunity to come up here to coach Detroit, and just watching him as a linebackers coach and now watching him as a defensive coordinator, you can see his intent. You can see his development as a football coach. And me from afar, you love to see that. And so that's one of the things that drew me in here, because I seen one of my closest friends who start from ground zero to see where he's at right now. It's the coolest thing alive, man. And so I'm excited for him, because I know how he's built, and I know what he wants to prove for himself. You know what I mean? I know how good he relates to the players and the coaches, and everybody loves Shep, dog. So it's pretty cool to watch him, man. That's my buddy. We both from Atlanta, played with the Bills, played with the Colts together. We talk every single day, and so you build a relationship with guys, and that's one of my dudes that I'm really, really locked in. He like family to me.
When did you know you wanted to be a coach, and could you feel yourself developing into that role, like even towards the end of your playing days?
You know what's funny is you mentioned that I was trying to get into broadcast, and I was doing like radio, you know what I mean, about to do TV. And I realized how hard it is, what y'all do. I got a lot of respect for you. The amount of knowledge that you're supposed to have, the amount of studying that you do have. Like, I have respect for people that do things at a high level. It's just how I am now, because I know how hard it is to do a different field and play the game of football. And so I'm doing media, and then John Kittner, who's one of my mentors, in summer they couldn't coach the team on 7-on-7. So I said, okay. He said, hey, man, why don't you come out and coach my team on 7-on-7. I go the first day, and the first day I get there, I tell one of the kids, I say, hey, man, my coach used to tell me to work on something once a day. Pick a part of my game to get better at. And so he was like, all right. And so the next week, Kittner said, man, they loved you. The kids loved you being out there. Could you come again next week? And I came out next week, and that kid found me. As soon as I came to the field, he was like, Coach. He's like, I'm going to work on catching the ball all the way in. That kid ended up being Jalen Rager, first-round draft pick. And so lit up. And it's hard, because a lot of coaches tell you, hey, man, don't coach unless you really want to, because it's strenuous. You're not around your family. You travel a lot. But, man, to be a servant to kids and starting in high school where you're working for free, to really see if you really want to develop and have to develop kids to even get the ball a certain way, the handoff a certain way. It struck me, and since that day I've been bitten. Like I'm sick to my how I am as a coach, because every time I watch a run, I see the negative parts of it. And when I watch games, I'm always getting on them about little things. They can rush for 200 and some yards, and when they come in there with me, it's gonna be like, oh man. Because it's how it is. I always was taught, don't think so highly of yourself. Praise and criticism, you treat them the same. You value neither nor. And so I learned that as a young football player. So I try to keep my players like that, to keep them humble. And I had a good group of kids that I've coached. And now being here, man, it's been a blessing, to be honest with you.
You and Shep both have a lot of energy. How do you think your friendship has maybe helped you guys stay on the track to get to where you are now?
One thing, it's funny, when you become a football player to a coach, you learn a lot about self-discipline by doing things when nobody's watching. And it's probably the strongest form of self-love you can have, is by disciplining your own self of bad habits, or doing things the right way when nobody's watching. The one thing, me and Shep, we hold each other accountable to that. If he's not doing something, or he's doing something great, it just pushed me to do more. And vice versa. And then if I'm wrong, he'll tell me, and it's not. And it's crazy when you got somebody you care about that know all they're trying to do is just get you better. When they say something to you, it's not negative. Same way when Scottie Montgomery, I sit up here, and every single day I'm learning to be an NFL football coach. It's not a detail he's going to coach me on, go over with me. Every single day, the whole staff, Hank, I mean, it's Coach Johnny Moe, Coach Shaw, everybody, Brew. It's so cool. Self, I don't want to leave any of them boys out. Steve-O, like, it's so cool to be around them, because they're so smart to me. And for me to be here to learn, because I want to learn. My biggest thing is to grow and progress. I think that's the biggest thing I could do as a coach, is to get better every year, just like I was as a player. And so that's what I try to do, and it's been cool, to be honest with you.
What kind of banter should we expect between you and Shep during training camp?
Oh, I'm going to talk trash. You're going to think we don't like each other. I may fight him, but it's all good. But it's all, like, it's funny, when you're in them lines, I hate them. I hate every defensive player on the team, but I love them at the same time. You know what I mean? So it's like, but you will see, like, that's how we are. That's the pushing part, because we know when the going gets tough, they're going to need that my players going to want to feed off of me, and I'm going to feed off of them, and he's the same way. So our characteristics on how we are with our players pretty similar.
Obviously, you're going to know more about him once you hit the field with pads and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
But for someone still learning the position, can you kind of give us some insight into where he's at mentally?
You know what? I'm very impressed by him right now. Having a chance to have him in OTAs, his quickness, his suddenness. He works extremely hard. I know how well he's done this last year on teams, talking to Phil a lot, and I'm back, having a chance to be with the returners and seeing him move and his movement and watching tape. But it's something God can play. And to me, I think he's still like putty where you can form him to be the player you want. But the fact that he has Demo, he has guys that do things the right way, he's in a position to really succeed. And him and Craig, how well they work together, it's going to be interesting to see how well he does because he has it in him. He has the speed, he has the quickness, and he has to tune some stuff in on his game. But the fact that he's coachable and he listens and then he works at it. And so for me, it's my job to get him better, and then it's his job to want to get better. And so it's like we got a real relationship with reciprocity. You know what I mean? Do you give as good as you get? And I think right now that's how we are. And so every single one of them, that's the whole thing. I'm gonna give you everything I got. Just give me the same. At the end of the day, I think we'll be fine. So I'm excited, fellas. Absolutely appreciate y'all.
A couple of years ago. Yeah. Maybe you can take us through that process and this one too.
Yeah. Grew up in Fargo, North Dakota, was at North Dakota State for a long time. Played football there, coached there, coached the tight ends and fullbacks for 10 years. And then 2019 transitioned to offensive coordinator, was offensive coordinator there for 5 years. Throughout the time, getting to know people, connections, was at Pro Day and met Dan at Pro Day and had a great conversation. I believe it was Trey Lance's Pro Day. And, after that, stayed in touch. Opening came about, and one thing led to another. Interviewed, didn't end up getting it. Learned a ton. Learned a ton through that process. And then this off season, we got back in touch, and one thing led to another, and got this opportunity. And something that I've worked hard for. As a coach, you're always telling your players, "Hey, get out of your comfort zone, grow, push to be your best." And when this opportunity came, I was really happy at Iowa State. I was. Matt Campbell was unbelievable. And me, my family, we could have been really comfortable. But when you have the opportunity to coach the tight ends of the Detroit Lions, something I sprinted towards. And, the vision here, the culture, the environment, what this all entails, it's just something that I was very grateful to get and excited for this opportunity.
Shaw was saying something like he always envisioned himself as an NFL head coach or an NFL coach. I'm sorry. Was this always maybe a goal on your radar that you wanted to coach in the league?
Growing up, watching the Super Bowl, you kind of have that feeling like I want to be there. That's something I aspired towards, and just wanting to coach the best. Where can you as a teacher, as a coach, as a mentor, add value, provide value, establish an identity with your position group? And, my goal for the room is to play with physicality, to play with the right intent. My goal is to play with one speed, and that one speed is physicality. So, no, it's something that was a goal of mine if that opportunity was presented. And, brought me here today.
Going back to that first conversation with Dan at the Pro Day in 2019, can you recall what you guys talked about, what you guys bonded over, what formed that initial connection you guys struck?
I think it was just like the intent and how you play the game. I think it was shortly after he was introduced as head coach, and I just said, hey, I admired the way you had your press conference and the messaging. That's how I look at the game of football. I want to preach and play with that desire, that intent, that mentality. Blocking is 90% of mindset, and just hearing like how genuine and from the heart that message was. I go back to that those quotes, quite honestly, quite a bit, and just how. That's something, and just to talking technique in the tight end position, scheme, and just we hit it off right away.
You coached Mason Miller. Just wondering, did you have input in bringing him here as an undrafted free agent? And what's your assessment of what he brings as an offensive lineman?
Yeah, no, I was asked about him, just football IQ, the way he plays the game. And at North Dakota State, there's going to be, a level of physicality that's desired. And I just gave my opinion. And he came out and did exactly what I thought he would. He learned the way he needed to learn, went out there and executed at a high level, and played. It's hard in rookie minicamp with just helmets on, but played with the type of leverage and physicality that I would assumed he would have played with.
Tyler, how much of your coaching mindset, the embracing of physicality, is who you were as a player, and where was that instilled in you along the way?
Oh, it's the way I wanted to play. When as a running back, as a fullback, my goal was to be the hammer and not the nail, and preached to me from, you go back to Little League football, but the way in which I was raised, you had to have a level of toughness. And just quick story. So I delivered the newspaper in Fargo, North Dakota, every other day from about 4th grade until, let's say, freshman year of high school. And when you have to deliver the newspaper in Fargo in December, January, February, and it could be minus 25 and going through snowbanks, literally. So for me, that's what you did, and you embraced it. So like for me, there was always a level of I need to have a level of grittiness to accomplish the task at hand. So no, that's how I was brought up, and that was the standard. And if you don't reach the standard, then you're not going to fulfill the mission. So, and then just the things that were preached at North Dakota State. Just the level of physicality that you need to play with. And from the staff, the players bonding together, that's just the way we operated. The Fargo Forum. Yep.
You obviously just inherited a pretty good tight end room. I just want to get your first impressions on Sam Laporta, and then for that number 3 spot, what do you look for? I guess what sort of traits do you want in that guy?
Yeah, with Sam, natural. Just real natural feel in the pass game. Where can I continue to add value for him in the run game? He's got the right mindset and intent. You can tell that he's had, he has a really good foundation to build upon. And there are small things in the run game that I can help out with. But talk about low ego about the team, high capacity to learn, and an unbelievable work ethic. He's just our communication and the way he goes about his work. Excited to continue to help add value to his game. And then the third tight end spot, we've got guys who are going to go in there and fight, and I'm excited to see how it all comes to fruition from Zylstra. We got Kenny this offseason. We've got Luke Deal, who we just signed over the weekend, and Zach Horton. So excited to see those guys go out there and battle.
You're not just stepping into a new situation for yourself, but there's a lot of new faces on this coaching staff this offseason. So how have you kind of acclimated alongside maybe some of those new arrivals, and have you faced any obstacles just coming to the pro game?
I'm thankful to have a foundation of, a pro-style offense and be able to coordinate in a pro-style offense. My goal was to, have the top rushing offense in college football. And really push myself out of my comfort zone to understand the pass game. In my last year as coordinator, we were fortunate to be one of the most passing efficient offenses in college football. So for me to have that foundation, to understand the why and how of this style of offense, it's been, not an extremely difficult transition, but there are some details and nuances. I mean, just the layout of the field, the spacing, the hashes, the numbers. I mean, just some of those small details that I've needed to learn and rely upon. Coach Brunell's been instrumental in helping me. Scottie's been great. And then in the run game, just learning from, one of the best O-line coaches I've been around, in Hank. So that's been great, and just going back and forth with Tashard, it's been great to just hear how he coaches and teaches that room. So for us to rely upon one another for feedback has been good.
Somebody that believes everything happens for a reason, but going back to your first interview here, not getting that job, I assume that was for the tight end position as well. What was the value you learned from not getting that position, and then Matt Campbell runs a pretty good program in Iowa State to be his assistant head coach? What did you gain that kind of rounded out your skill set that prepared you better this time?
That's a great question. In my opinion, in football, the teams that win are the most connected teams and the most desperate teams. Desperate doesn't have to be a bad word. Desperation is hungry and doing things with an edge. And I think me not getting it made me even hungrier. So I just continued to be where my feet were and work. And then having the opportunity to go to Iowa State to see how Matt Campbell did it from a CEO mindset, but in an environment that players gravitated towards him. And just to be associated with the head coaches that I was with at North Dakota State, to then go to, a much larger scale at Iowa State, to see how he did it. It was so, easy to see the alignment, how everyone was, on a mission to do things better than they were ever been done before, the level of toughness that he wanted, the level of desperation that he wanted the team to have, the eagerness, the edge, because that's what I wanted to be associated with. I mean, for me and the success that I've been able to have at North Dakota State, winning 7 national championships, to be able to carry that there, win 11 games the most in program history, to go win the Pop-Tarts Bowl, to then just have, the mindset of being on a mission to do things better than they've ever been done before in a tight end room, and in a tight end room that's had really good success. Where can I add value? So to be able to learn that, to grow from that, to grow forward, that was an unbelievable learning experience for me. But then going back, it made me more hungry, excited, and just pushed me out of my comfort zone to learn, to evolve the way I saw offensive football.